2 more weeks until the actual set drops for Gundam. So what are we doing in the meantime? I don't know about you guys, but a lot of stores around me are going to be doing starter meta events where you can use any card that was released in the starter decks, the demo decks, and the beta card sets. So I'm going to be doing a small series where I'm sharing a couple of these starter deck meta decks with you. Let's go ahead and take a look at today's deck, Red Green Zeon Rush. And of course, be sure to like and subscribe to the video. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. Hey guys, Editor TriloG here. I just wanted to say I piloted this deck at my first local events. There was over 30 players there. I was actually shocked of how many people that were there. I thought it was only going to be like 6, like a super small group, but it was over 30 people, and I was able to lock in top 4 with this deck. So to quickly break down my matches, round 1 was versus white green. I was able to take that really quickly. Round 2 was against a red-green deck, and I was able to just overcome that faster. This particular version of the deck is just way faster than your normal red-green Zeon. Round 3 is where I lost, but essentially my opponent just got really lucky. He had 3 bases in his life, and he also played 2 from hand, and that was just too many bases for me to get through. I was drawing well. I got into multiple shards, multiple Zaku 2s. I was unblockable, but he was able to, of course, field the board and just stabilize, so I didn't feel too bad about that loss. And the last game was versus another red-green Zeon. Very fast, but I'm just so much faster than it because my deck doesn't ever break. Alright guys, back to the video. This is actually what I'm assuming to be like one of the better decks as of right now in this particular type of meta. A lot of players are going to be, of course, focusing on Wing Gundam. They're probably going to be focusing on L Strike, of course. They're going to get the whole, like, I guess like the beta meta kind of feel going on here because those cards are available. So you do have access to both draw cards from white and blue and a lot of setup. So obviously the FOMO is pretty good because it drops that 3/1 unit. So it actually feels like when you play this card, you're actually playing a unit. Yeah, it's exhausted, but you're also drawing a card. So you're getting like a double replacement. So it actually feels really good playing these cards. We have the Vesalius. This card is really good. There's going to be a lot of cases in aggro where you need to adjust the math a bit. And this actually definitely helps you out. And it actually makes our 2 attacker guys a lot better, and we have plenty of the 2 attackers in this deck here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the units. So of course we're rocking actually both of the 1-drops that are actually legal in the starter set, and Drax C and Zaku 1. They're both 1/2s with no effect, with no link. These are pretty good. Generally, as I play these, I usually play these like turn 2 or play turn 1, break a coin turn 1, but it really depends if I have the ability to break their shield on the next turn. So sometimes I'll conserve the coin if I have it. Obviously with the Zaku 2, no real explanation around this boy here. When he swings, he gets that +2 AP, and he's able to break that shield. He's probably like the best cost-wise shield breaker in the game. It's just the fact that like when something attacks into him, he only essentially does 1 damage on your opponent's turn. So that's like the kind of the trade-off here. So we have a non-Zeon card here in Zaf, but the main reason we're using him is simply because he's a 1 cost on level 2. What we want to do is on turn 2, when we have 2 resources, we want to drop 2 creatures. We could have put in like Miguel's Jin at another 2 cost card, but we omitted that. Yeah, he's like Maganac stacks at a 3/1, and he can break the base. Jin cannot. This Jin cannot, but I would rather drop 2 of these Jins instead. Same kind of deal here with the Zaku 2, but he actually does a little bit better because he's, of course, a Zeon, and he can actually be picked up by one of our cards here. Now, there's not a terrible amount of Zeon synergy in his deck, but we do have the Zaku 2. We'll get to that in a second here. Now, the Gods of these Sleeves here is a very important card, and because it can support instantly when you play it. This isn't like Magic the Gathering where you have to wait a turn in order to use activated abilities. You can actually play this card, tap it, and immediately give it +2. So let's say you have a turn 1, you drop a Drax C Sleeves. Turn 2, Gods of these Sleeves comes down, gives the +2, you get the base kill there. Next, we have another non-Zeon card in Maganac. He's pretty good. Of course, he turns into just a single card on turn 2. If you have to drop it, you have to drop him. Sometimes if I go second and I have the coin, if he's one of my best options, if he's just going to be the immediate shield breaker, I'll go ahead and put him down. And next turn, I'll drop these 2 1/1s. Let's swing with him again. That's 2 life down, a base and life down, and then of course these guys will start picking out unless they run into a base. This is the obvious pick here. This is one from the starter deck. You get 2 in the starter deck, so you'll definitely need to pick up 2 starter decks in order to get this one. Both of these Zaku 2s link with Shark. This one says when destroyed, pick top 3 cards of your deck, grab any Zeon and Neo Zeon card. Now this one doesn't always hit because we do have a Zaf card in here. We have Maganac Corpse, and it doesn't pick up any of these even if they're Zeon, Neo Zeon, they don't pick up any of these side cards. It's only units. This does have a chance to whiff, but also has a chance to not whiff. So it's still good enough. But the whole point is you're trying to get a Char Asimov on it and swing for 5, which can crack any base that is out right now. Same thing here, pretty much another replacement effect, but this replacement effect is a little bit better. It's more guaranteed. As long as you have the Char Asimov on it, well, that's the thing. You have to have it paired in order to get it. And the reason we're playing this is because it can, of course, our Char Asimov can make this one another 5 attack unblockable. So it doesn't have any additional effects, no replacement effects, but it is a 4 cost. And sometimes your opponent can get to the point where they have like a 6 blocker, and this one actually will be able to help you get over that blocker. Again, back to the facilities, this is a card that we use almost all the time to get our 2 guys, 2, 3. There's some cases where we need to hit 6, so we go Char and we get +1, and we actually make this attack into a unit instead. That's causing us major problems, because sometimes we can even, like, say we drop the Gaza D, give our Zaku 2 +2 attack power that only makes it a 4. That's not enough to break their base, and of course you give this one +1. So this one actually just fills in your map all the time, and this is a low drop. It only costs 1, so I see myself dropping this on turn 3 almost all the time. And don't be afraid to actually play your bases, guys. If you can afford to play your bases instead of a dude, play your base and then get that extra draw. And sometimes you may draw like a 1-drop. Like, let's say you have 3 resources and you have no one cost guys in your hand. You may be able to just drop the from all. You might pick up any of your 1 cost guys, thus playing another unit. So now you turn that from all to from a turn that would have just been 1 unit into 2. Yeah, overall the deck is just straight go for your opponent's face. We have 38 units here and 8 bases with only 4 pilots. The goal is to literally just focus on the face. You're not looking for trade values. That's not how I build my aggro decks. You could think of this as just more like a glass cannon kind of build an aggro deck, where you're just putting a lot of pressure on your opponent. And if your opponent's deck is not designed to handle that super early pressure, then they're going to go ahead and just, obviously they can't catch up and lose the game. But if you're constantly running into their units, that's almost like you're giving them breathing room. You're like, okay, cool. Sure, you killed my units, but you're not killing me. So I'll go ahead and draw my card and get another resource and have another turn here. The whole point is we don't want our opponents to have any more turns. We just don't want them to have any more turns. Close combat can be one of those cards you can use to help you get out those mini blockers out the way. So let's say if they play like Ares blocker or the Zord, you can just close combat it, move it out the way, and just continue to attack with your guys. But again, like, this isn't a guide card. Like, once you play this card, it's gone, and sometimes there'll be cases where it doesn't really kill anything. Another card that I personally like using is Citizens Take a Stand. This can actually be one of those board breaking cards where, like, if you have an expensive board and you happen to be playing against like a white blue deck, and they fielded a whole row of 4/4 blockers, something like this can actually help get over all of those. It's just going to make your opponent go like, you know what, I'm not going to trade all my expensive guys for all your little guys. So I've actually had some really good use with this card. This actually was one of the cards I was actually in my original builds, but I actually removed it for the Vesalius card because I actually feel like, you know what, if I'm going to get plus AP, I can do it a little bit more incremental. I can make it unfavorable that way. But this is really just a stalemate breaker. So again, it really depends on what's around you. If you feel like you're going to be needing more of that stalemate breaker, this will be a card for you. We don't have like Big Zom around, things like that. So this was going to be like your best option for that. And my last suggestion, I'm just going to say Rick Dom. Now, this isn't a card that I personally put in, but I can see how this can also still be an aggressive card. So if you think of Rick Dom as a 3/3, next turn, you're going to, on turn 4, you swing. And this one, you can actually start picking off their blockers, or picking off the guys that they've swung with to kill your guys. So you're still like performing the duty of destroying their shields, while at least protecting your other guys from their attackers. So he can be kind of like the enforcer card. You could think about that. Like any of your breach cards, you can start clearing their base. Remember, you can get increased attack. So he can go up to +2 attack here, Vesalius +1, or combined mounts. So this guy can go up and attack here. Obviously, you throw a Char Asimov, he goes with the 5, so you can pretty much clear up any of their suspended guys. You could remove the Gelgoog and throw 2 of these in here, and that can probably just make it better if you feel like that. I just kind of put the Gelgoog because I actually wanted to get through their defenders and actually hit their base, because I feel like there's some situations where my opponent stabilized. They may they're generally stabilized behind a wall of blockers, and I want to be able to get through that. That's the reason I make the pick, but you can go ahead and try this one out too. Alright guys, let me know how you feel about this deck. Go ahead and like, subscribe to the video. Try this deck out, guys. I think this is going to do you pretty well in the actual starter meta here. Doesn't take too much to get into it. Now again, you would have to check with your local shop that's running these events, if they are even running events that are allowing you to make edits and just kind of use whatever cards that are out at the time. You kind of have to check with them, and of course you have to make changes according to what they don't allow. So if they don't allow any proxies, then you're going to have to, of course, use what you have. Generally the starter deck cards are going to be the only thing you have access to. My personal opinion, you would need to pick up all of the decks that contain the color red and green, and then like take the best cards from them. Like for instance, you would need to go ahead and pick up those Maganax from the Wings of Advance. Otherwise, if you want to do a more budget friendly deck, just buy 2 of the Zeon decks and essentially just smash those together. But I would kind of focus more on the mid range. If you do it that way, you probably have more luck because your power cards are going to be in your Shinaju and your full frontal and your heavy support cards. Alright guys, and here's a version of the red-green deck that you can build if you only had access to just the starter deck cards. We have 4 of the Draxi, and we have 4 of the Zaku 1. And as you can see here, we have more command cards in the deck than we do in our other version here. Here we have 4 Inignations. That's going to help our level 1s be able to do that early crack. And of course, being able to get over some of the high blockers that's going to be able to block us. And we have our close combat. We only have a 2. Usually this is more of a control card, but this can actually clear the way on some of those low end blockers there. So the creatures are pretty much the same throughout, but like we have the Gera Zulu at 4 here. Now this can actually be piloted by your Angelo. So that can be also another target for a haste card, since Char only has access to being able to link with the Char Zaku. This version is a little bit slower than the other version, which includes the beta cards, but at the same time your opponent's going to have less access to a lot more blockers, less access to draw power, so they're pretty much going to be gassing out almost as quickly as you are if they're not controlling the board, but you can still get some good speed on them, and of course use your Vesalius and your Char and your other cards to get above your opponent. And you can even use close combat to make fairer trades if you just need to like get rid of their blockers. Alright guys, and in this video we're going to go ahead and test our deck out for you, and I'm going to be playing against another deck that I make. I'll show you that in the next video here. It's going to be a blue-white control deck. I think it's going to be very well. It's also going to be legal in this particular type of format. Again, if you appreciate this kind of video, guys, be sure to like and subscribe to the video. Let's go ahead and get into it. So we're going to take a look at our hand here. We have very low cost cards. We're almost not going to mulligan a lot. We just need to make sure that we can break their base early. And you know we got that boy in our hand right here. So let's go ahead and just keep it. And we do have a 1-drop here. So this is going to go ahead and be our first shield damage after our homeboy. So we're not going to go too fast. Okay, so he did drop an Ares here. So that is going to slow us down a lot here. So I always like to drop 2 guys at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and drop him and drop any of these guys. These are essentially all the same, right? So it doesn't really matter here. I don't really bother with the attack here. I guess I could. And since this is not going to break it, it's just kind of like whatever, take the damage. But that also opens up for this one to also be the card that breaks it. So this would be probably worth to do that. Okay, so now that has 1 damage on it. Let's go ahead and swing the turn. Is he going to drop another blocker? Oh, doesn't drop anything, just goes to 2. Doesn't have anything in his hand. So he's going to play some pretty meaty cards here. So now Jin can actually be the card that gets in there. Or we can actually play the Vesalius and do that as well. Let's go ahead and... I usually count our cards to see how big of a play we can get. Our big play can actually be dropping 3 units right now. That can actually be our big play, and we already have access to breaking this already, so we don't actually need to play this right now. My only other play was to play this, give him to +1. Now all of these can threaten it. So I'm just going to go ahead and attack here. He's probably going to block, yep, because that's the first threat to it. We're going to go ahead and swing the Zaku. And like I said, our draw is going to be our first damage to their shield there. Now we're going to go for the big play. We're going to drop all our boys. And go ahead and pass. Now understand, like imagine if you were on that side. I wouldn't have played white base there if I was this player. I don't know what's in her hand, but I think white base was probably... I don't know. How do you guys feel? Was that an awful play? I don't see any enhancements right now, so maybe it would take my whole field in order to break this. That is like a triple attack here, so that's probably not too bad. But I am going to drop the Vesalius here at this point here. We're going to go ahead and decrease that number by 1 at least. Give this to him. Swing here for 4. So instead of taking 3 attacks, it only takes 2. And now we have triple shield break right here, unless of course they pick up another shield out of nowhere. And to you guys, okay, so wow, that's kind of sad. His last card was the unforeseen incident. That's quite unfortunate here. And we're just gonna go ahead and of course drop a Zaku here. This game is a little bit too easy to win right now. We might actually have enough time to show you another game. Okay, he's gonna be able to clear up one person. Now the only card in the game right now in this particular meta that can threaten a board like this would be literally 2 sets of Togis, I mean heavy arms, with TriloG, or being able to attack twice doing that, because everything in our deck has actually 2 health. So at this point, we never worry about this guy. Like some people might want to, let's say he had full health here, may want to use this Facilius and give it to him, swing to that. Not worth it. Just if they have access to life, go to life, guys. I'm telling you, just practice playing that way. If you feel like you should deviate from doing that kind of strategy, go ahead and do it. But otherwise, practice playing that way, see how it feels. Look how easy that was. Let's go ahead and give it a different another go here. Let's give our opponent a chance, but give him another game here. So we have a base breaker over here. We have 2 potential base breakers, and we also have a decent turn here. And we're gonna also be going second, so we have access to this a lot earlier. So this is actually a really this is a really good hand here. I'm not gonna break the coin, so I'm only gonna drop Homeboy. We're gonna pass, and then we're gonna go. We actually don't need to go Char, but we're just gonna go ahead and we're probably just gonna go Char. Attack there. Yep, and we're just gonna go ahead and drop Char right now, because even if he clears Char, we're gonna get a dude out of it anyways. I'd rather play the one that can actually generate the token than this one. That just kind of draws you a card in a way. Oh, all he does is play white base. See, Char's already here. Let's go ahead and just knock out white base. If you didn't know, Char gives +1 on attack to any unit that it's under. It doesn't need to be Zeon, doesn't need to be anything. He just provides that hide maneuver to when he is actually attached to someone. Now let's go ahead, and we want to play our biggest turn, so we usually try to play our least costing cards. Right now we can only play no matter how we do the math, we can only play 2 of these units here. So we're gonna go ahead and drop our boy, and we drop a Zaku here and pass the turn. If we were able to play 3 cards that turn, we would play 3. Look at that. I think he picked the wrong target just because it's the biggest one, and we also still have a replacement there, and that's technically game. That's already game on the board here. Actually, yeah, all our guys are dealing 3 damage to each thing. Oh, okay, not killing him. That's one thing I should have paid attention to. What I could have did was actually play a Gaza D. And enhanced it, but he could have probably wasted it. He could have saved that on any of my guys. You know, not like you can give it to everyone here. So we're gonna go ahead and just put the Gaza D there anyways, just in case one of these happens to be a base. And we're just gonna go for it. Yeah, I know the Kira with 2 damage on it is tempting. I'm telling you guys, just go for face. You can imagine the stress levels you're putting on your opponent when you do that. And I'm even just gonna go ahead and just drop let's go ahead and just draw another Gaza D. What is my opponent going to do at this point? Play a heavy arms? No. Yeah, he will kill these 3 if that existed. It's not going to happen here. And hopefully we'll get a card out of this. Yep, we'll get a Zaku 1. Sure. Doesn't drop a blocker or anything like that. Goes Akira. We can go, yep. Digging. I love that art for that show resolve. I hope that's like the replacement art. That one was way better than the weird falling up the sky one. I don't really like that one. And we are, of course, at game here once again. It's pretty easy, guys. All right, guys, I hope you appreciated that video. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll go ahead and see you in the next one. If you want to see more Gundam content, check out these videos right here, and of course these ones for mecha content. I know life can be hard out there, guys, but keep your head up, keep moving forward, and most importantly, let nothing stop you. Peace out, guys.